when you're in a food truck, you know, like, you don't have a lot of these options that a lot of kitchens have, you know?
Yeah.
So I find a lot of inspiration and creativity through my limitations, you know? Like,
Yes,
I can't fit an oven in there, I can't do this. You have fruit in a food truck, you have like 4 hours before it's just like slip. So like, you know, like even like one of my recipes for short ribs, you're like, dude, this is the most authentic thing ever. I'm like, great, it's sun-kissed. Like, what? Like, what? I'm like, sun-kissed strawberry soda. You know, like, the simplicity is really hard to grasp.
Hi, I'm Jason French, and this is Kelly Cox. Welcome to another episode of Curation, where we take two artists and bring them together for a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
On this episode, we're going to hang out with one of my favorites, Chef Hwang of Kim Jong Grillin, and talk to him about probably Korean barbecue.
Then we're going to head over to New York and hang out with the amazing Revel and Dimes.
Oh, and that thick, bluesy, soul funk sound. Plus, they're New Yorkers.
Dance party.
Oh, no.
Let's start by heading over to the Richmond neighborhood and hang out with Chef Han at his world-famous cart, Kim Jong Grillin. Let's talk a little bit about the food. So you're doing like a take on Korean?
Yeah, when I started Kim Jong Grillin, a lot of it was because I missed eating Korean comfort food. Sometimes having a Korean restaurant, it's a little unapproachable. Like, especially when we opened, you had to be in the know or have a Korean friend or what have you to know what to order. Being in a food truck kind of took that away, and having a limited menu took that away as well. I got influenced doing Korean food by my mom. That's where a lot of like the gumption came from too, you know, to be stubborn. Like, we didn't grow up, I didn't grow up with the most wealthy parents, so my mom made do with a lot. Looking back now, I see like how being in a food truck, you have to constantly improvise. And I think I got that from my mom as well. I actually moved out here to do animation work and a little bit of production work. And I ended up always having to cook because freelance was awesome out here, but it's hard to land a job. And I started missing eating my mom's food. That led to a Christmas party that I cooked bulgogi at, and it wasn't even making it off the grill. People were just putting it on top of their beer cans and eating it. Fast forward about 6 months later, I was on a vacation with my then girlfriend, now wife, and she's kind of had the suggestion, like, why don't you just try the food truck thing? And I just kind of went for it.
The process of having a cart is slightly different than restaurants.
Oh yeah, vastly. For instance, like every drop of water that goes down the drain, I have to see it again and pump out the gray water. It's always fun. People in food trucks that make really good food and produce really good food, like, work, I'd say on average about 10 times harder than people in restaurants. There's so many more roadblocks in food trucks, and there's so much more to it to get the windows open in a food truck than there is just opening and unlocking the door at a restaurant. We were open for 10 months, and we got asked to be part of the Food Truck Festival in Portland. For me, at the time, I was like, all right, cool, let's just get my name out there. I didn't expect to win, and we ended up winning. So we're 2009 Food Truck of the Year. About 2 hours after I got that award and that trophy, it melted with my food truck. It caught on fire. And the next day, it was all gone. It was pretty devastating. I didn't realize how much it meant to me. Like, the food truck. Like, at that time, I was still at a take it or leave it spot. I didn't know if it was gonna make it or not. But once it was gone, I was just devastated. I tried to open a restaurant, and I didn't even get the doors open. I ended up in this crazy downward spiral, which not too many people know about. Like, you know, I fought a lot of depression. I fought a lot of, like, I had a lot on the line to try to do something, and I ended up giving up. One of my drunker moments at night, I got an email that there was a casting call for Chopped. And my wife was like, dude, what do you have to lose? You don't have anything, you know, like, so might as well go for it. Like, what if you get picked? What if you win? What if for this? And if you stack too many what ifs, I think, you know, it'll drive you crazy. So I did it, and I jokingly put the application in. I was like, they're not gonna call me back. And then next thing I know, they were flying me to New York. I go on Chops. I got a lot of harsh words thrown at me from one of the judges, but it was like, this guy doesn't know me. He told me to get my ass back in the kitchen. And honestly, that was the first time since Kim Jong Grillin burned down, so this is like about 3 years later, that I got re-inspired to reopen the truck.
Bands and the music and the food and the chefs are all part of this same sort of like cultural expansion that's happening. It feels like it's happening in America, maybe not in mass, but in small pockets and in those communities.
I think it's pretty amazing because I think, they say music is a universal language, but I also think that food is as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I'm actually really excited. Like once I heard Revel and Dimes, I didn't really know what to expect and I didn't know what I was gonna make, but once I heard them, I was like, oh, got it. I know exactly what I'm gonna do. Like this is great, because this sounds like the definition of me. Born in America, DNA is Korean. What I would get a lot from my mom was like, you can't do that with kimchi. I'm like, no, it goes great with cheese, So like, to be able to go outside of the rules, but also kind of bring it back to the actual ingredient is a big deal for me.
The blues-infused rock and roll sounds of Revel and Dimes have been the talk of the music world.
Now let's head over to New York City and talk with them about how they came together and some of their influences both in music and food.
We're in a moment where like everyone is bringing themselves to it in a way that it's not like anything else. It's very much an extension of who we are. It has this undercurrent of, blues and simplicity and soul, but we're all very different people. You can't necessarily classify it as one thing. That's what I love about Revel and Dimes.
It always surprised me that when I met Wash out what he wanted to do. He's rooted in jazz, so he's played in Latin bands, like completely different stuff. And he just wanted to get mean, go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then just get that like thing, the hypnotic like pulsing thing. And I was like, yeah.
Well, you think
could
a
do
train,
that.
you think a train, right? You think you think a subway, it's just like that.
We had a band before that called Dukes of Brooklyn. We had just finished a record and the lead singer decided to leave. We weren't in a real big hurry to add anyone.
Right.
Least of all another lead singer personality. And then she came around.
Thanks, Kia.
Thanks, Kia. Yeah.
I was working there, and it's a music concert venue, and they came on a Sunday and just stopped. I mean, it wasn't just me. There was like a bartender who has like man crushes on them to this day. We were just like taking shots of whiskey, like immediately the vibe of the place changed. I maybe saw a place for myself there, but I mentioned it to a friend and he definitely saw a place for me there, and he was the one that like spoke on my behalf. And
you made it happen. I think with Kia, it felt like it needed to be rounded out with the bass. So I called Primo up, and he picked up the phone. We had a long conversation. I was like, so, Chauncey said he told you I'd be calling? And he was like, no, I haven't spoke to Chauncey in a couple of years. And I was like, and you picked up the phone and, had this really open conversation, and he had no idea who I was or why I was calling, and we just hit it off right away, and he came in. He nailed everything. He has such an incredible vibe. It was just so organic. It just happened really easily and naturally.
The process that we have is usually ideas, riffs, a feel. And I think that's one of the things that keeps us within ourselves, within the genre of where we're rooted. And then the embellishments come out.
Food, it comes from the soul, just like music does, I'm half Cuban, so I love Caribbean food. It's simple food, it's like rice and beans, and the same thing with music, You put that soul and that love into it, and it's it feels good.
in my family, we're Jamaican. We don't necessarily hug or kiss, but it's I'll show you I love you by making 10 million plates of food, because this is how I love you. And I think that when you're connected to your art in that way, you feel the same way about that for yourself, and then the people you do it with, and then by extension, whoever you share it with.
There's a lot of ingredients that go into cooking, a lot of ingredients that go into music, and it's also a way you're not forced to talk to people. You just dig into your food, just turn the music on.
Yeah.
It's like, shut up, I like this song.
Let's just share this moment.
Sometimes like doing one little thing is so much more powerful than doing, a whole bunch of stuff, I love the challenge of trying to keep things simple. When you're performing and playing music, it's easy to try to do more. You want to give more, you want to do more, you want to play more notes, and I think it's more challenging to like slow yourself down and only do the things that really matter.
Thank you, Chef Hwang. Thank you for everybody for being here. I appreciate it.
Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm Han, owner of Kim Jong Grillin. So course 1 is a mixed kale salad with Italian cucumbers, scallion, sesame seeds, and a kimchi vinaigrette. Your course 2 is cheddar grits with braised short rib with white kimchi, collard greens, and edible flowers. It's like kind of a merger of the South and Korean. So enjoy, guys. Early Southern food and Korean food are very, very similar. A lot of pickles involved. There's a lot of curing of meats, and then throw being really poor on top of that. It's like that will all of a sudden make something different. So for you guys, short ribs with my short rib marinade, lots of strawberry soda.
You said that you're waiting. You've been saving an appetite.
I've been saving myself this whole day. I'm just to have a better palate and just go in on the food.
You want to come play with me?
Totally.
I got experience of taste. I wish someone would take me to the land of black death. Help me out. If you don't mind, gonna use my time.
I was in a documentary 2 years ago about Korean Americans making Korean food, and then they decided to re-air it, I guess, at this food and film festival in Korea, and they were like, will you fly out and cook for us? I didn't show it on the text, but I was crying I made it! Sent it out to my mom with just the, told you so,
I have these conversations with chefs a lot about simplicity, right?
Yeah.
Where cooking simple and cooking bare bones, it's yeah man, you can add 7 things to the dish, but I want you to take 4 away.
Those records that Fat Possum was putting out in the late 90s, they were bringing these guys to the forefront that people didn't even know. They've been playing for years, but Junior Kimbrough and R.L. Burnside. As soon as I heard it, I was just immediately it made sense to me because it's so authentic and so much about a vibe, and that's the type of thing that I gravitate towards. It's hypnotic. Yeah, getting to that hypnotic thing that's simple and always trying to do less and just get to the meat of the statement.
Reopened my truck, another chef was like, what are you gonna do from here on out? And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna treat 2016 like a mixtape, and every mixtape is gonna be a different kitchen I'm gonna jump into, right? And that did me wonders. So I'm a big fan of collaborations. To be able to close the gap, even outside of this. the pressure's on for every chef to expand or to travel or to do what have you, and I've been really fortunate to get really good feedback from everybody. Yeah, I'm just gonna maintain being happy.